Hi there, thanks for joining us today. We're going to have a quick review of our tabs system, time and billing for law firms. Just before we start, I'd like to introduce the general functional areas of tabs and the functions um, you can enjoy when you start using this product. So the functional areas cover, of course, timesheets or time recording. We offer a dashboard to allow summary figures and data to be available 24/7, so you don't have to wait for reports to be generated. Those numbers are available all the time. For example, the value of billing this month, the value of WIP posted this month, or timesheet value posted this month. Disbursements, so we can track out-of-pocket disbursements like fax, IDD calls, courier fees, general out-of-pocket expenses relating to files. Professional disbursements can be tracked, and these are generally if you're a trademark agent or had a trademark department. This could be payments to agents, for example, or it could be payments to barristers and things like that if you're doing litigation. Trust accounts, basically your bank accounts that are client accounts, and these can be multiple trust accounts as well as multi-currency. Obviously, we have a database for your client names, and then connected to that we have matters. Matters can be both what we call fixed fee matters and just, let's call them normal. And fixed fee, what we mean by this is if you're doing, say, trademark work, the file itself, or even corporate secretarial work, the work itself might be based around a fixed fee as opposed to accumulation of time. Non-client database, so this is where we can record names and details of people that we meet that are not yet clients. They may well be barristers as well. They may well be agents from around the world that we deal with, but basically a list of names and addresses of people we know and we do business with, but they are not clients. Obviously, we can generate bills, integrate with Microsoft Word to help you generate your billings, and we can do reports. In addition to this, there are some options available, and the options include we have a built-in leave management system to help track your staff annual leave, etc. We can generate newsletters. We have photocopy integration to allow the cost codes, etc., and the matter numbers to be sent down to the photocopier from the time of billing, and then the photocopier can send back the costs of printing and scanning and etc., so they don't have to be entered manually into the tab system. And NetDocuments is a well-known document management system for lawyers, and we can integrate the matter and client details into the document manager to help document profiling much easier. So to get started, we'll start on timesheet entry. So when we're using tabs, I'm logged in as a administrator, so I do have a lot of modules available to me at the top here. And normal staff may only have clients and maybe matters and maybe timesheet entry. They need not see all of these options. So I'm going to select timesheets. And you can see here that I have a calendar, and this will summarize the posting of hours that I've done this week. Also, the red indicates that's a holiday, so we don't require any time to be posted on that day. While you may wish to still post time for that day, the system won't chase you if you've posted nothing. So the system can do follow-up for timesheets, that what we call our missing timesheets report. To post a timesheet, you can select a calendar date. Let's select the 5th, and you can see the 5th is automatically entered as the date, or we can drop down the calendar and select the appropriate date. The timesheet can be chargeable or non-chargeable, and this relates to whether it's client time or not client time. So if we were to say no, this would indicate that actually we're doing, let's say, sick leave, meeting or marketing with potential instructions, pre-instruction matters, maybe seminars, CDP, legal conference, something like this. So this is non-client related work. So we'll go back to make this chargeable. Okay, I'll just select the 5th again. Here we would type in the client name, and then we would select the client, and then we have got a list of matters that are available. Now conversely, if we knew the matter code, etc., I can simply click here and it would allow me to select the matter codes, and I need not select the client first. So if I know what the matter code is, I can just enter that and then it will tell me what the client was. Also, a quick entry method is that we do have something called my recent matters that I've been working on. So if I just select recent matters, up come the list here, and I could select, okay, it's that one that I'm working for, and it will post that data or select that client and matter for me automatically. Here we've got fee earner. Now, if I was a fee earner posting my own timesheets, which is normally the way law firms would operate, but if in this case I'm a support staff and I'm entering timesheets on behalf of a fee earner, then given, let's say I'm secretary, then that secretary could select the person that they're going to be typing or entering that timesheet for. So it is possible to post time on behalf of others if you've been given the rights to do so. If I was just a fee earner, then it wouldn't have this option because it would just be posting for myself and I couldn't post on behalf of anyone else. We then have the ability to select different activities of law or areas of law based on the type of law. For example, if you were doing trademark, you may have a different list of activities that trademark people do compared to litigation, for example, or you could just have a general list that the whole law firm uses no matter what department that you're actually in. So let's call this litigation work. The units can be time based on decimal hours, so 1.5 would be 1.5 hours, or we're using units here, so a 6-minute unit, so 15 units would be an hour and a half. Billable, yes, and I can make my notes. Review, settle, and documents from other party. And you can type as much as you like here, maybe over 2,000 characters, and this data can be merged and printed out with the billing if you then have a supporting worksheet of all of the time that you've actually done. We've also got this option called billable or non-billable. So let me first post this particular time. So it's now been posted. And what I'll explain is if I review my calendar for a moment, you'll see that in September, I've got several colors on the 1st of September here. One's green, red, and blue. This indicates the type of time that's been posted, and in tabs we offer two types of what we call client-related time, and that would be billable and non-billable. So this is where we would identify here whether this would be billable or non-billable, and this would be something like you went to lunch with a client. You may not wish to actually bill them just because you went to lunch, but you do want to record the fact that you were, let's say, working for this client itself. Whereas non-chargeable time, that relates more specifically to what we discussed before, CDP, training, mentoring, partner meetings, where it's non-client time. So non-client time we call non-chargeable, and client time we call non-billable or billable, and of course 99% of the time is probably going to be billable. You can always write the time off later, which is a different issue in regard to posting time than defining it as billable or non-billable. Okay, now we can, if we go back to October and we want to review our entries for Friday, we can click on 2.5 here and up come time that's been posted for Friday. If I need to edit this one, I can just load it back in here, and maybe I can make that 26 with client. So I can just amend this, update it, and then save. So until a timesheet is billed off, it is possible to edit those timesheets and review. It's also possible, if you had a list of your timesheets on the screen here, you can have a look at all my WIP, what's been billable, not billable, non-chargeable, etc. Or we've got some advanced searching where you can search for your different types of bill, what fee earner it was, what the date was, what client it was you were looking at. So if we want to have a look at, say, Thailand Art Museum, and we do search, then it's found all of these time for that particular um, client. You can also see that this one is not billable because, should I say editable, because it's been billed. Okay, so this not editable, where these ones are still editable. If I wanted to, I could also select these time and I could export it to Excel if I wanted to do further work or analysis or some other reason. Okay. Also, it's possible to have something where you have a verification. This tick here identifies that this time has been verified. Now, what that means is where you have a support staff, for example, if I'm going to post time for Mike here, it's possible that Mike can then look on his screen, review the time that I've posted, and he could tick that entry like this, and that would verify, and then it records the time and the date, etc., that this had been verified. And generally we can enable this function, and time can't be billed off until the actual fee earner has verified that that's been posted correctly. So that gives you some idea on how easy it is to post time. We can do one more entry. Let's select the 6th, for example. We say yes, it's chargeable. I'm going to just select from my recent work that I've done. The fee earner is going to be myself. The area is IP work. I've done 5 units, and review um, application class 23. And you can see my spell checker works there, and then I can log. So fairly straightforward to record your time. On the dashboard, if you're a manager, it's possible to quickly review, and you can have a look at, say, other staff, and you can load in their timesheets, or you can go back to mine and you can see mine here. Okay, and then on the dashboard you're able to have an up-to-date review of the time recorded this month, time recorded last month. So that's timesheet entry. This section we're going to review clients and matters. So select clients at the top of tabs here. These are some of the, let's call it, favorite ones that I've been working on. You can see Chinese are supported, or alternatively we can just select clients and then we would perform a search. So from here I could select the name of the client, PEL, and it's come up with a couple of clients that starts with PEL, and I'll select this particular client. So you can see a few things about this client. Firstly, we can see the logo of the client here, but more importantly we can see information about the client and which partner is responsible for the client, their industry, their contact details, and then on the right hand side here we've got details on the people that we know at that client. So if we wanted to know more about John Smith, we can just click on John Smith's details here and go through to John. We've got a photograph of him, so easy to recognize if he's coming to the office. The receptionist can call him by name rather than saying, "Who are you?" We then have the information down here relating to John, which any documents that we're holding, maybe copies of ID cards or anything, his known address, any relationships he has with other parties like wife, cousin, director of, lawyer for, or something like this, and also history of newsletters. So if we go back to the client itself, we'll just edit the record and we'll have a look at the fields available. So you can see we've got the ability to track the name of the client, any alternative name, which also could be Chinese, or it could be a short name like HSBC, or Citibank Singapore, Citibank Hong Kong, which may not necessarily be their legal name, but it's the name that we use. Is it an individual? No, it's not. Who the responsible partner is, the client code. Client codes can be manually assigned, or we can assign them automatically based on some predefined, let's call it formula. Um, Billing currency, you can select as many currencies as you wish to define. You may have RMB billing, you may have Sing dollar billing, you may have US dollar or even Euro billing. Corporate type is just to help us sort different types of clients. We can track who referred this client to us, and there may well be within the partnership some bonuses based on those clients that are brought into the firm by a particular partner, so we can track that information. The date that the engagement started, industry they're in, their website, contact details. You can add as many phone numbers or fax numbers as you wish here. We also have the ability to define a group here, so if this company did belong to another group, we can link these two together, like Swire owning Cathay Pacific or something like this. We've got a document folder for net documents. This could be a matter file link. The date of incorporation, financial year. While this is not required to open the file or the client, the red ones are the ones that we've made compulsory. This information may well be important as you move forward. And then we've got details here about payments, who is the accountant at their firm, any arrangements for billings, or when do we pay, or sorry, when do we bill and how do we collect the cash, or something like this. So that can be defined here. So we'll just save that. And then under the client itself, we've got these key tab areas here that really help us understand what's going on with the client. So firstly, I can see that we've got 7 matters open. So this summary tells us the timesheet values that are open. Open means unbilled, closed means billed off, billable time and non-billable time. And this is a summary in total over the life of the client. Disbursements, how many disbursements are open, closed or billed off, and then how many were billable and non-billable. Open invoices, closed invoices. Client performance, so this means that it's not a bad client. We've only written off $240 to date, and the average time to pay is only 21 days, so that's not too bad. And then we've got a summary of staff that have worked on this client. This also gives us a graph to show us the timing or the aging of some of their timesheets, disbursements, and invoices. Activities. Activities is the ability to have some CRM functionality in tabs whereby you can make notes, meeting notes or profile notes, etc. against the client, and then they can be here to be shared so everyone can see what's been actually going on. Matters, this will list the current matters that we've got open for this client. And you can also see we have a function here called the budget bar, which allows us to quickly identify how we're going on our budget. So you can set a budget within the matter, and then this budget bar will just quickly bring to our attention how we're going as far as our original, let's say, costs estimate, and then as we post our timesheets, if we're getting closer or not. And this is also valuable when we're doing fixed fee work. Timesheets, so this is just a summary of all timesheets posted, disbursements posted. We discussed things like local travel, copying, court fees, etc., etc. Trust account, we don't have any transactions in the trust account. Billing, okay, we've got our bills identified here, what bills have been issued, what have been paid, what are outstanding, etc. Receipts cover basically the settlement of bills. Addresses, we can have multiple addresses, including, say, the office location versus head office versus the billing address. It may well be an accounting firm pays their bills, so we may have the accounting firm's address here as well. So we have the ability to add multiple addresses. Documents. Documents could be tracked here, for example, your original engagement letter. You may hold a copy here so you can refer to it at any time. You may also hold other key documents like incorporation certificate, BRC, other things that you may need to refer to, but this is not really meant for tracking, let's say, general correspondence with a client. Reporting links refers to our ability to connect to other companies within a group. So I can actually see here at the top, these icons represent the fact that I can see that this company has got other relationships. One of them is more like a parent and one of them is more like a child. So you can see that Star Group is really the holding company, and you can see that other companies relating to the Pelican Group are here. All right, so you can build up these what we call uh, reporting links, we call it, but really it's the ability to look at all your exposure to this one client, and this client may have multiple business entities. So this gives us one way to group and to view all that data in one place, because if one business has a difficulty, it may well be the other businesses need to be monitored as well. We also have charge rates here. Based on your engagement letter, you may well define the charge rate. So, for example, we're billing in Hong Kong dollars for this client. We might have made an agreement that this particular fee earner, we would only charge $500 an hour instead of 600, for example. Okay, or we could say that all partners will only be charged at 4,200, right? And we can save that. So the way that time charging works is once you post a timesheet, it will first look at the matter to see if there's any special rates on the matter. If there's nothing, it will look to the client to see if on the client screen here any special rates have been defined, and if there is none there, then it will use the normal fee earner rate that's been defined in our system. Okay, so that's how we would review client information. Let's have a look at matters now, and I'll select this matter here. And matters can also be accessed from the top menu of the system up here, and you could search directly for the matter. So there's two ways to access the matter file. So the matter looks very similar to the client, except it's got a little bit more information. So let's edit this information and have a look. So we can see here who the responsible partner is, the handling solicitor, the introducing manager, the matter type, the jurisdictions this client is in. It is billable as opposed to pro bono. Fixed fee work. This matter is not fixed fee work, it's time cost based. We can support, if you've got US clients that require this LEDs or leads reporting, we are able to support that, and what that means is if we enable this, all your activity codes will be specific to those standards within that area of law. Currency has already been defined. It would pick that up automatically from the parent or the client, but you could change it when we first create the file if this needed to be RMB billing, for example. Charge rate can be standard. That means we have no premium or discount, anything like that. And if you did offer a discount, you could once again put 20% discount here, and then all timesheet work that would be charged would just be written off by 20% or discounted. Matter, when we open the matter, which office is looking after it. So you may well have several offices, so you can have office ownership of each client. Use client custom rates. That means that yes, if the client has got charge rates, then yes, for this file we will, let's say, copy those down and use them. This relates to workspace in the document management system, and also we define if you're doing work or taking instructions from another law firm, that law firm may well have a reference for this file, and your reference may not necessarily help them. So therefore, we can also track their file reference, and we can maybe put that on our bills, etc., so they can follow which clients are being billed and also the client reference. We've got areas for tracking the file, when it was closed, if we destroyed it or when we destroyed it. If you take it to a go down or a warehouse, you can enter the box file reference here so you can recover the paperwork if required. Payment terms here, whether we're going to, for this matter, email the bill only or email and post or post only. Contact person in that firm, We can add that person's name here, and we can say main contact. We could add another one here, and we could say this is the accountant, for example, so we know what's going on. Any notes we want to make on, or background notes for this file. Then there's an area here to help with conflict search. So once you add a new file, you can say, yes, we did perform that conflict search within our office. We completed that work on such and such a date, and it was completed by, in the accounts department, Florence, for example, because she's our conflict officer or something like that, or our compliance officer internally. So you can track that work had been done. If there's some litigation here, you can also track opposing parties, other parties, etc. So we'll select save. So you can see we can hold quite a bit of information on the file itself. Then the file itself has additional information, like, for example, just like the client, we've got activities, we've got timesheets, but this time, of course, the timesheet's specific to this matter as opposed to the whole client. Disbursements, just for this file. Any trust account transactions, no, there's none. Billing, once again, bills that have been raised, the receipts, receipt of payment. Any documents, nothing. Cost analysis, this will give us a summary of the current open timesheets that haven't been billed, the aging of those, what's been billed off so far, what our write-offs were, what our recovery rates were, and we've also got that analysis here from timesheets. So without generating any reports, you can just come to cost analysis, and this can give you a quick report. This is where we would set budgeting, so we can set different types of budgets for either different areas of law, or we could be specific to the budget being staff related rather than activity related, or it can be staff level. That means a partner needs to spend 1 hour, a senior associate needs 4 hours work, something like this. So budgets have different, let's call them frameworks that can be used to create a budget. And then charge rates, and we've discussed that that we could use the client level charge rate, or we could have agreed special rate to do this project work for the client, and we've set that at this file, and other files for that client are not affected by the charge out rate that's being used for this particular file. So that gives you a quick idea on what we can do with the matter and the fields that we're tracking. Just before we finish on our matter review, we'll just have a quick look at some of the icons that are useful at the top here. One of the ones that we use a lot is the bookmark icon, and that's the ability to star this matter and then have it on our lookup list here, or our favorite bookmarks. This way it's quick and easy for us to come to this file, because these are the ones I'm working on. So this would be our case files, these would be the list, this would be company files, and these would be our contacts. So bookmarks are a useful feature, and if this file is closed, you can then turn that bookmark off. We can also close the file from here. Normally that would be done by, say, administration people. If there's some entries still left on the file when we're closing, we can maybe write these off without technically raising a bill. They would still be written off and charged to the fee earner, but no bill would need to be raised. Another area is also the ability to create documents. So I'm going to create a document actually at the client level to give you this example. So one of the other issues we have is the ability to generate letters or statements easily. So if we click here and say we want to do a cash collection letter, now the issue here is that where fee earners are responsible for cash collection and also measured on cash collection, we feel it's reasonable they have the ability to generate a statement or a collection letter quite easily. Now it may be that all of the files in this client they want to chase, or it could be a single file, and therefore they just pick the matter that they want to chase up on. But if it's all of them, then they can do that and simply select submit, and it will create a Word document and it will be formatted. We have several types of, let's say, chasing. One we call friendly, formal, and we call harsh, which means that we've asked them a few times and we're starting to get a bit angry now. So you can obviously edit the words in these templates, but we've given you something to start with, and the whole concept here is that the fee earner themselves can create these statements or follow-up reminders requesting their bills are settled, and they don't have to wait or rely on the accounts department to do that work. We're going to have a quick review now of the tabs dashboard. This is an area that's used a lot by our clients and can be customized for you, your specific requirements. So while we provide what we would call a generic dashboard in regard to particularly the key balance numbers, if you wanted to adjust this in any way, we charge to do that, but it is a service we'll provide. So for example, the key balances would be things like your receivables balance. Now, of course, this is my demonstration account, so not many law firms in Hong Kong only have 12,000 Hong Kong dollars in receivables. But the concept is that on the key balances on our dashboard, we can see our current receivables number in real time, our unbilled WIP value, our total billed this month, our total billed last month, time recorded month to date, time recorded last month, our office disbursements unbilled, our professional disbursements unbilled. Remember, this is barrister fees or agency fees, how many files we've got open, and our average unbilled fee days. So this area, like I said, is of value because this will give you your up-to-date balances every day of the year, and you don't have to wait for reports to see what these numbers are. And a lot of senior partners and partners manage their firm by these key numbers, and they know what targets they have to record every month if they're going to hit break even or profit point of view. Also, we have the ability to have a diary or track. If you use the activity management in the system, you're able to then have a reminder diaries here. This could include court days and other things like this can be tracked, and they will appear on your diary to remind you. These things can be moved around, so if you want to put your holidays on this side, you could do that or drop them up there. So it will remind you your next holiday coming up, etc. We'll quickly look through the tabs here. So you can see these tabs are timesheets recorded this month, and we can highlight the actual area here, and you can see the values that these represent here. You can also turn things on and off. Let's say billable time on or off, the target report on or off, and we can zoom in if we have to. We can just zoom in like that and it will expand out the graph. You can change these to show last month's time, okay, this month's time, my timesheets, or you could look at other staff's timesheets. Same here, all of these are interactive reports. This is a list of my missing timesheets. So we've got a target of 5 hours per day, and then it shows that obviously this is just demonstration data that I haven't posted time on these various days. We've got a whole lot of different graphs in your time area. We've got billing area. Once again, it's this data is not great because of, let's have a look if we've got some bills here, because it's only demonstration data. But you can see here that once again we can see dollar value bills raised, draft bills that are in draft but haven't yet been issued, how many issued. So this can be done by department, okay, year to date, etc. Okay, this is the graphs for the receivables or debtors, and here you can see we've got, say, a breakdown of percentage of owned or owed by each partner. That means Dan's owns 80% of the debtors, where Julie has only 10% of the debtors. If we wanted to have a look at what those debtors are, we can click on the circle, and then you can see a list, exactly the value of that, how many over 30 days, and if we want to, we can put that list into Excel. So if we want to have a look at this guy's details, he's just got one invoice. So these are drilled down, double click, and you can see that information. Click on this graph, we can see the invoice that is outstanding for this particular person or this particular company. So this would be our top 10 aging clients. Let's have a look at top 10 over 30 days. Let's have a look at Pelican, double click, and they've got 2 invoices outstanding there. Okay. Down here we've got interactives of percentage owned. So if we look at Dan, you can see his split between 90 days and 30 days. percentage of ownership by manager. Let's have a look. No data there. So these graphs are quite useful because, like I said, they can be drilled down and interactive, so you can see your debtors. Collection write-offs. Let's see if we've got any last year. Okay, none. Last year, I mean, once again, sorry, this is uh, demonstration data, so we don't have a lot of write-offs in the system, but of course here you'd have write-offs shown at cash collection or at the receivables time. Matters. Some clients track or have targets for opening new files. So here we can see a summary of what files have been opened by who, and these are once again interactive. And credit control. This is a useful feature we have on the dashboard. What we have is, if we have a look at this feature here, or these values, what this is telling me is we've got timesheet values of 126,000 and we've got trust account balance of 0. So technically we've got 126 in credit for this client. The system itself, once the difference between the trust account and the timesheets open or unbilled is more than 50k, and this figure can be adjusted to whatever you want, but for my demonstration it's 50, then it will appear on this list. So it's quite easy for the senior partners or partners to track whose work in progress is getting beyond a reasonable credit limit, right? So if they did have 100,000 in the trust account and timesheet was 126, this would not appear in the list because technically the credit would only be 26 because we've got 100,000 cost on account. If it was 50,000 on account, then we would have 76 exposure, so it would appear on this list. All right. So that gives you a quick review of our dashboards. And this feature is used a lot, and particularly the key balance numbers are of good value for partners. The last area we're going to look at is billing. Under here we can create fee notes, we can create credit notes, and we also have a new module called batch billing, which allows you to go out and draft bills for, say, all files that have, say, 30,000 unbilled WIP on, or you could do all bills for one particular partner or department. So let's have a look at this bill and see how we set a bill up. So you can see we have created a bill for this company or client. We mark the intention of this guy, draft the date of the bill, details of the bill, internal memo here, just what period the fees are covered. It shows the address here, but that's fine. We don't need to change that. That's the correct address we want it to go to. You'll see this client actually has got some fixed fee amounts, and this relates to a nominee director fee, details how much that will cost. We could add another fee, for example, if we also have the mailing address. You can see this is what we charge for that. Down here, our term sheets are broken into, you can see green and red, and red time relates to work that's related to maybe some fixed fee. So what we're saying is, while it's fixed fee chargeable work, we don't actually charge our actual time, we charge the fee. So when you post your timesheet, you can, to a fixed fee file, you can nominate whether that's relating to the work or it's outside the scope of the work. If it's outside the scope, then you end up having this green line, which really means it's billable. Okay, so you could call this additional work. We can review our work here, or if it's already had a report printed and the fee owners reviewed it in paper, they can come back and then make some adjustments. So for example, one way we could look at this is you can see that the current value of time for this bill is 5,460, or the total cost is actually 8,200, but we're only going to charge them, say, 5,000. So we just type in a value of 5,000 there, and then automatically the system will prorata that difference and allocate, let's call it the loss, against the various fee earners that have contributed to the file. If we were able to charge 10,000, of course we would have the opposite, whereby we have a premium or a credit, you could say, a profit being allocated to the fee earners that participated in the file. This ratio can be adjusted manually if you're saying, well, the senior partner said that he doesn't write off his time, so he could be adjusted to 0 and everyone else has to wear the write-off, for example. So this is a suggestion, and then you can make any manual adjustments that you may wish. If, however, the fee earners said, well, actually, I want to bill everything as it is, so technically it would be 8210. But what I want to do is just adjust one line item. So this particular entry of 10 units, we only want to now charge, let's say 8. So you could come in here and just adjust 8 units. And then you'll see we've got these double asterisks, and that indicates that we've had some manual write-off of that work against that particular fee earner. So that's how that would basically work. Disbursements are all here. Once again, we can bill them off against the file. If we need to, what we call anticipate any work, say if there's a courier bill coming, we could type in 100 here, and that would increase the disbursements that we're going to bill off. If there's money in the trust account, which there is, we can also reserve those funds by clicking here, and we can type in the amount that we want to reserve from the trust account, and then that can be transferred across at a later date. Once that's all done and you're confirmed, then you can simply press the Create Bill button, and the system will download a Word file for you to open, and then you can edit further if you so wish. Just to give you a view of what some of the formats may look like, this is a particular layout that we use generically, where we put your logo address up here. The bill gets addressed to obviously your client. We've got the bill reference date, etc. here, along with disbursements, details of the fee earners' time, their charge out rates, and details of our bank account so they can pay us. This would be an example if we didn't have any disbursements involved. We'd have a summary like this. Now, attached to the actual bill layout, we may have worksheets and things that summarize all of the work that's being conducted here. But once again, the bill format is up to you. Many of our clients do like the template that we have as a standard. By putting your logo and that on it, that gets you started. But certainly these can be adjusted to meet your requirements. So that's billing. It's fairly straightforward, and certainly this can be discussed in more detail if required.